So I want you to log into onshape, and instead of creating this time, you're going to slide your way down here to where it says public, and you're going to then search in the public. So if you type in unikitty in there, you'll see that I'm not the only person to have ever tried drawing unikitty in the past, although I think I've probably done the best version of it so far. But down here you'll find unikitty by Mr. M. So you're going to click on that, please, to open that up, and you would be able to move this around and so on. But if you go up to the top where you've got these 3 lines and click on copy workspace, you probably won't have to do that bit there, and click on open. Then it'll give you a copy of it that you can work on, that you can change, that can be your own. You can see that this is just taking a moment. You might like to have a look at the pictures of the video of cats down there playing in a box while that's going on. Eventually we'll come through to here and we can view this. So along the bottom here you'll see that actually to do this I actually created all of the individual parts and then joined them together, and that would be, I guess, the next part of that, how we go about joining those together. What I want you to work on for now is to go to this one that's face for your design, and this is the brick then that would have unikitty's face on it, and you're going to draw that on there. You might like to start by changing the colour of this. So over on the right hand side where we've got the appearance panel, if you open that out and you double click on there, you could change it to any other colour to begin with. That would all be a good way of working. And then as per usual, we'd click on sketch, we'd select the work plane, which is going to be this front work plane, and we would draw the different parts that we want to have on there. So I don't know, maybe we've got a couple of eyes, and maybe we're going to have like a mouth that is involved. Ooh, I should just double click to get that line, shouldn't I? Use a spline like that. So that is a sketch on the front. Incidentally, if you were doing something that went up to the top of here, so let's say I was going to draw a, don't know what that is up there, just make sure that you do across the top here, complete the sketch so that it is a enclosed perimeter. What we can do then, in order to be able to make this a different colour, we do need to extrude that. Maybe not out that far, but if we take that into here, like so, it's almost like we've printed onto that. It does mean then that at our appearance panel we can go into the add face appearances and we can select individual parts to be different colours and so on and so forth. To draw something more complex, what I've done, you can see, is I've just drawn quite a lot of sketching going on. So there's, let's have a look. I've grouped them all together in this bit here. So I've got the eyes drawn as a sketch there. I've got the sketch, which is the mouth, and so on, and all of these different extrusions. So that is something that you can spend some time on. Perhaps instead you would prefer to play with my parts and try and work out how you're going to join them together. To do that, we'll click down, insert a new tab down at the bottom here, plus, and we'll create what's called an assembly. If we click on, if we go to the assembly automatically, if we click on insert, these are the different parts that I've drawn along the bottom here, and we can pick out any of those parts here. So there's the face that I've just drawn, and I could take maybe let's take the body and bring that in and put that there. For argument's sake, we will also bring in an ear. Just get rid of that up there. Oops, restore. So there we are. So these are my different parts. Now it is possible just to click on one of these parts and to try and move it around using this here. However, it's not very accurate and it's difficult to work because we're in a three-dimensional space. So you think that you've got it in the right place, but it turns out to be too far forwards or too sideways and so on. What we can do is we can instead use this mating function up at the top here. If I click planar mate, and it's asking me to select my connectors. If I try connecting maybe this face here, so if I click on there and then come out, that's still selected. You can see if I select this face here, now what it's done is it's not lined it up for me because this computer's not clever enough to know what Lego is or even what these things are, but it has joined one on top of the other, so I can click tick there. And what that means as well now is that if I get rid of the planar function, if I click on this and try moving this, you can see that it'll move that way and it'll move this way. If I try and move it this way, it takes the other one with it because they are in fact joined. So if I go back to planar mate and I select this as a mate selector and I select this one as a mate selector, you can see, well, in actual fact, it seems to have lost the first one. You will need to click on solve down here. So click on solve and then it's like, okay, well, I've worked that out. And it's put it there like that. So I can click tick there. Again, if I get rid of that, we can see now that those are joined, or at least nearly. You can see if I select this, if I pull this now, it'll pull that way. If I pull this way, it'll go that way. If I pull it this way now, it's still sliding off. So you could mate those together. Another nice one to use of these mates is the cylindrical mate. You can see the underside of this piece, I've got a cylindrical hole. If I go onto cylindrical mate and I select that, and I select the cylinder on there, and I come back out and I select, see that's still highlighted, the cylinder here, then it's brought it in. So again, if I get rid of that and I pick this up, I can move it this way. If I try and move it this way or this way, it's joined to that one there. What I can do at this point is take this and I can turn it like this. I can do a planar mate using that to fix that onto there, and again, if necessary, click solve, and you can see now that when I select this, if I move it like so, it's also good here, but I can slide it around the top there now to be able to create a more complicated Lego object. Well, I think this is probably the sort of thing that you could get completely lost in for hours and hours and hours, but any time that you spend using Onshape, designing the face or trying to put the different parts together will ultimately benefit you in design technology in the GCSE course and improve your understanding of three-dimensional space and form, and hopefully it's just a little bit of fun for you as well. Okay, thank you very much. Martin Dare out.